Hello, class, the receiving students and teachers. How are you all this morning? I'm very well, just like you all. Thank you. You may be seated. Now we are still on the same strand, same substrand, learning outcome and unit title. Now I'd like Yoa, this time I hope you give me the answer. I'd like you to tell me what our strand and substrand are for this unit we are looking at.
The strand is living things and substrand is reproduction.
Okay, thank you, Yoa. We see what we have, living things and nature of living things. Let's have, if you can tell us our learning outcome and unit title. I've already told you this is the last lessons on this strand, substrand, and unit title. So every one of you are receiving students too, you should be also aware of all these strands, substrands, and unit titles. Now we have outcome 8.2.1, and the unit title is reproduction and environment. Now, in our last lesson, we carried out an investigation in different habitats. Now, receiving students, your friends only looked at 3 habitats. Now, in your case, you should have had more than 3. Now, in your investigations, you were to find out evidence of reproduction in each of those habitats. Now, if I can have, let's have, if I can have you to give us the answer for that question. Receiving students, please you tell your teacher the answer for that question too. What evidence would you find of reproduction of plants in an habitat? Yeah?
Seed, new shoots, and buds.
And buds, good, thank you. Now, before the seeds, we are talking about reproduction. From that plant, do we get seeds straight from that plant? No. If you say no, then I'd like you to tell me, Christy, how does it start? It doesn't from the plant. We don't get a seed straight away.
It starts from the flowers.
Very good, thank you. It starts from the flower to the seeds, the fruits or the seeds. Now, I have an example. You already know. What's this plant called? Eggplant. Let me see. Okay, eggplant. So we have the flower. From the flower, we have this fruit or the seed. Now, all these plants, like this eggplant, it needs special condition to help it to reproduce. If I can have Nancy to tell us what condition does it need? This is from the all vegetable garden habitat that you observed and investigated in a previous lesson.
Sunlight.
Very good, sunlight. And also, Nancy, are you able to finish it off for us? Sunlight and what else?
Energy.
Mm-hmm. Good try, thank you. Sunlight, what else? Thank you, let's have you. Nancy has given us the first one of the conditions that this plant needs.
Minerals.
Minerals, that's food from the soil. So we say it needs good soil. And also, let's have you, Habi.
Water and sunlight.
Very good. The plant I just showed you and many others, they need sunlight, water, and good soil to help it to reproduce. Now I also have another to show you, a common one that we all know of and we like eating, mango. Now, mango, just like the eggplant and many other plants, also needs sunlight, water, and good soil to help it to reproduce. These two, the mango and the eggplant, they have different ways of reproducing. Okay, reproducing young. This reproduces anytime. This at certain times, not all throughout the year. Do you see mangoes are bearing fruit all throughout the year? No. So mangoes, besides other plants and living things, they have special times to reproduce. Now that introduces us to our topic, sexual patterns of living things. Sexual patterns of living things. Now sexual patterns is the way in which living things reproduce. Now all living things don't have the same pattern of reproduction. They have different types of patterns. And we call this type of reproduction as regular or seasonally. Okay, seasons. There are seasons like this mango. This mango has a season to reproduce, and that is the sexual pattern of this mango and other plants and animals too as well. The eggplant, does it have a season? Those of you who have grown eggplant and may have eaten those ones in the receiving schools as well. Do eggplants have a season to reproduce? No, you see them all throughout the year. You can eat eggplant from January all the way to December. What about the mango? What about the mango? Now, I'd like you to quickly discuss and tell me something about this mango. We've just said that this mango, we don't eat it all throughout the year. It has a season, a time to reproduce. I'd like you to quickly discuss, and somebody who can tell me something about this mango. Anybody receiving students? Please let your teacher know also. Every one of you, I believe you all have mangoes in your habitats where you live. Michelle?
It reproduces mainly according to the weather.
Okay, very good. She says, according to the weather. What do you say, Eddie?
Mango reproduce in certain times.
At certain times. Now, from what you know, Eddie, if you can tell us, when does it reproduce? At what time of a year?
It reproduce in a year
Okay, what time?
from January or in December?
Okay, Eddie says around December, and probably it keeps on bearing until January. Anybody who disagrees with what Eddie is saying? Of the time mangoes reproduce? How about you receiving students? I hope you are telling your teacher. Okay, we all have mangoes around us, and I would go with what Eddie is saying. We normally have mangoes around Christmas. That's where we eat a lot of mangoes. So Christmas comes around in December. So from that time until January, and probably towards the end of February, are times of reproduction for mangoes. Mangoes to reproduce. So mangoes have a season. Now, I'd like us to have a look at this plant I have. Anybody in the class who has seen this plant? No, okay? Because we all live in an urban area. But I believe students in the rural areas, you have seen this plant. It's called flame of the forest. And especially students in the highlands, you have a lot of them in your forest. Now, this plant has a special time to reproduce just like the mango. And it normally reproduces in June. So if it reproduces in June, it will reproduce again the following June, just like the mango. Mango reproduces around Christmas, and so we expect to have mangoes again the next Christmas. Okay, so these are just examples of sexual patterns of some living things. Now, I have an activity for you, the class and the receiving students, to do. In your groups, you're going to discuss and describe a sexual pattern of a plant or animal that you know together as a group, and you are going to have someone to quickly tell us what you have discussed about, the animal or the plant you discussed about. I will give you 2 minutes to do that before we have someone from the group to present. Contribute, anybody who knows of certain plants or animals, you can share your ideas or your experience with your friends and then come up with one. We'll have the group that is ready, the first 2 groups to present. There are many of you, so what you know, you quickly come up with, and then you decide which one you can present. Have somebody. Don't forget we are talking about sexual patterns. Plants or animals that have certain times to reproduce. They don't reproduce all throughout the year. Okay, so if you know of any, you can talk about quickly and have someone present. Okay, which animal or plant are you working on? If you do not know the name in English, we do not know the name, you can use pidgin. We call this, we do not know what it's called in English, but this is what it's called in pidgin or something like that. Okay. Okay, so are you on a plant or any plant? What's the plant? Oh, okay. Okay, good. How about you, plants or animals? You're not feeling that, that's different. You're only given 2 minutes. As students in the receiving schools, you should know more of these living things, plants and animals, because you live in a rural area. and you have a lot of plants around you. So you should be able to know plants that have certain patterns, sexual patterns, or plants that reproduce, or animals that reproduce at certain times. You ready with yours? Jacobet. Is that how you call your name? Yeah. Golden showers. You can say that's the fruit of the that's the fruit. That's what it bears. So that's the fruit of the golden shower. Okay. You ready to have yours, huh? What's your name? Put your what out I see your name. Natasha. Okay, we are going to have Natasha. Natasha is going to tell us what herself and her friends came up with. Natasha, you can stand where you are.
Okay, us we chose a plant, and the name of the plant is rain tree. It reproduces seasonally, mainly around end of November going towards December.
Very good, thank you, good. Anybody else? Besides, we'll have the next one and then we'll continue with our lessons. Any groups? That's a rain tree. Thank you. Let's have that group over there. Okay, let's have you with yours.
In my group, we have discussed about a flowering plant, and the name of the flowering plant is golden showers. Golden showers reproduce mainly in December and early January.
Very good, thank you. So these two plants, the golden showers and the rain tree, they have special time to reproduce. So they reproduce seasonally. Okay, good. Now our activity 2, groups 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You're going to work on the sexual patterns of the plant called golden showers. Your friends have just given you part of the reproduction pattern of this plant, but there are more to it. So you will be working on the plant golden showers. Now groups 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. I missed out 9. I thought we have only 8 groups. 9. You're going to work on the sexual patterns of frogs. Now, to do that, receiving students and teachers, the model class you have your worksheets, but for our friends in the receiving schools, you should have a worksheet like this. If you don't have it, then have it done quickly. So you can use this one. Now, where it says name of the living thing, that is where you are going to write, like the model class, you will have golden showers and frog. Now, students in the receiving schools, your teachers will give you the names of living things that reproduce seasonally, so you can work on that. Now, you are going to find out or write about where or when this living thing reproduces, how it reproduces, asexually or sexually. Don't just write the word asexual or sexual. You have to have more to say about how it reproduces. Where it reproduces, the habitat. Say more about the habitat that it reproduces. And the last question, it says, why does it reproduce during the given season? You will have to go back to the first question. If you say it reproduces around December, why does it do that? Why? Okay, write something about this. So class, I've already given you your living things to work on. I'd like you to work together as a group. discuss your answers and then have it written in your own individual worksheets. Receiving students, I hope you have taken note of it, and with the help of your teachers, I'd like you to work on whatever living things your teacher has given you to work on. You're going to discuss together, okay? You're working on golden showers. When does it reproduce? Your friends have already helped you with the tenses. But you yourself, you think about it. The time that your friends gave you, is that correct? If you think, yeah, it's correct, okay, you write it, see? And then it's all about golden showers you're going to do, all these ones here. Informations about sexual patterns of golden showers, okay? Wait first, switching off, huh? Back to one. Is it this? Is it that one you want it on? Okay. Just try to go through quickly for them to see, but then come back and then give time and then go to the next. Okay. Okay, so you should be now, when does it reproduce? When do you think a frog reproduce? What's his sense? Very good. You see? Okay, so your friend has already come up with the answer. So all of you should have the same answer. So once you finish, you go to the next. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. What did you come up with as your first? Maybe it cannot be only man, it can be weather. See, somebody talked about weather. It depends on weather. So that can also help you to see. Your friends over there already came up with the answer. What do you have there? Yours already. Okay, then have it written. So what we have discussed about together, you have the same answers all in your worksheets. These worksheets here. And you have to have someone, okay, for presentation. What do you have for when it reproduces? When it reproduces, it's not only talking about the time, it's not talking about the month that it reproduces. If somebody talked about weather there, see? So what type of weather? During dry season, wet season, or when? When is there? So first one has been already given. You should have it written and go on with the other. Now listen, you are not to do individual work. You have to work together as a group, meaning you discuss the question, come up with the answer, and then every one of you have the same answer written in your worksheet. So that is how you are helping to help each other instead of one person working alone. You have to work together as a group. So what you write here, when does it reproduce? Where's your answer? What you are discussing about, you quickly have it written. Okay, you are discussing as a group, and whatever answer you come up with, every one of you have the answer written in your worksheets. So everyone has the same answer because this is group work. You are working together, not individual person working. You had answer there, that one was given by your friends over there. Think about that. Have your answers written here in the worksheet. Okay, instead of you writing November and December, between November and December, now we also have to think of time is not only like we talk about weeks, months, days, and all that. Time, seasons, times like rainy season, dry season. Dry season is where there is a lot of sunlight. Wet season is where there is a lot of water. So golden showers, when does it reproduce? You have the month there, but what about the weather? That's another condition. So does it reproduce in wet season when there's so much rain? Or okay, let's see answer. You talk about it in maybe. What do you have there? You don't. Now listen. You are. Oh, you're on frog. Don't write all this here and take up space. You just write the exact answer. Say if you say it says when does it reproduce? Dry season, wet season. Around what 10 days? Okay, let's have two from one from the golden showers and one from frogs. Those who are ready to present to us what you have. We have one from those who worked on the plant golden showers and the frog. Now listen, the class, the model class and the receiving students. I will have you to finish that, okay, as homework, and tomorrow, our next lesson, before we go to the next lesson, we'll have your presentation done quickly. Okay, now if we can go to the summary for our lesson. 1, sexual patterns are different in all living things. They don't have the same pattern. Have it written quickly? I'm finishing. If you did not finish, check with your friend who has finished to get the first summary point done. Natural conditions like sunlight, water, type of soil and food control the sexual patterns of living things. Which means if there is a lot of sunlight, then you have certain plants that can reproduce when there is a lot of sunlight or where there is a lot of water. Others cannot. So they are controlled also by these conditions. Now your homework, you have to find out why humans and other animals don't have seasons to reproduce. Now we've just looked at other plants and animals that have seasons to reproduce, but with humans, and there are also other animals, they don't have seasons to reproduce. Why? I'd like you to find out. That's your homework, receiving students. Just take note of it. There's no need for you to copy it. Now, a key phrase. Can I have someone to tell us what a key phrase for this lesson is? Key phrase. Diana?
Sexual patterns of living things.
Okay, good, thank you. Let's see. Okay, sexual patterns is a key phrase. Now, our next lesson is sexual behaviors of living things. Now, we have a picture there. There's one that should show you. Okay, there's a picture there that should show you one of the behaviors of one of the animals, but there are many others. Students in the receiving school and also the model class. If you do not know, ask your parents or relatives who can help you to identify some sexual behaviors of living things. Now with that, thank you class, the receiving students and teachers for your participation.